All right, I want to give you a quick demo on something that you're going to need for your homework. So in Photoshop, if you saw this layer comps window open, you can close that. We don't need that for our day-to-day work. Do a File, New, and this is where you can set up a document to exact details, whatever somebody needs from you. So if it's a preset that's a photo or a print, you can go through here, but if you want to have it be exactly something, we're going to demo that. We're going to come over here to this width. Let's say I tell you it has to be 9 inches by 9 inches at high res, at 300 pixels per inch. This is where you could go in and set something up exactly. So in this new window, that's where you can do that. Then when you say create, you get this. The next step in your homework that we haven't really talked about is they want you to set up guidelines, and I'll show you 2 ways of doing that. The visual way that works for a lot of things is using the rulers, and the rulers aren't showing right now on my screen. So under the view, I would come down to rulers, and that's a toggle button. Command R turns them on and off. From the ruler button, you can hover, or not button, the rulers, hover inside the ruler, click and drag down, and you can bring down a guide. So if you knew you wanted a guide at 2 inches, you could match it up to 2 inches over here on the left. Notice that my coordinate is 2.0008. It's not exact, but I could let go, and that brings out a guide. So you can visually pull some down. You can pull them from the left ruler. So if I wanted to make a square, I could give myself like guidelines to do that. So that's one way, is pulling them out. I'm just going to Command Z to undo all them. Another way of doing it is under the View menu, New Guide, and here you can tell it exactly where to be. So vertically, I want one at 0.25 inches, and I say, okay, it's exact. I'm not eyeballing it, I'm not guessing. So in your homework, they're going to tell you some exact numbers that they want for guides. Basically, you're going to make, and I'm just going to do this real quick, like a checkerboard. And what they want you to do is using your rectangular marquee. Now you can very easily select this shape because you have guides that it's snapping to. And they want you to fill these with different colors. So right now I have this weird brown loaded up. So if I Option Delete, I filled that one with brown. If I pick my next color to be purple, and then I go and I need more guidelines because this is what it's really going to look like when you guys do it. On this next one, I fill this one with purple. So I make the shape and then I do an Option Delete and I fill it with purple. That's the first couple of steps of the homework. In Blackboard, scroll to the bottom. Here are the directions, specifically what size of a document you're going to make, and then where you're going to make the guides at. So basically, you're going to make guides to make this checkerboard. Then they want you to use the rectangular marquee tool to make a rectangle of each one of these and fill it with different colored blocks. Anything other than black and white. Then there's 9 separate photos that we've already downloaded, and in Bridge they're right here. They're in that grouping. So you're going to be selecting this off of the background. Is that going to be hard? That's going to take a little work, right? Because of the antennas and stuff. Don't chop off his antennas and call it good enough. Okay? They have to come along. The cards. How about this? What would be a good tool? Whoops. What would be a good tool to select this? Go away. Which one? So the rectangular marquee would do something like this. It's not going to quite work. But you're on the right thought path, absolutely. How about, yeah? Yeah, in the lasso tool, the polygonal, because this is the one where once you click, you can make straight lines. Look how easy that's going to be. Okay? So with each one, you need to think about what tool is going to be best. So you have all these different things. Be careful when you do this one. Maybe you're going to try to knock out the white background. Be careful that it doesn't make all of the white invisible, and I can see through Jack Daniels and the bottom of it and everything else. You don't need the shadow with it, just the bottle. So one by one, you're going to open these files, and you're going to select just the thing, and then that same idea that I showed you, let me just do a quick, let's just pretend that this is a perfect selection. It is not. You're going to do that move idea where you take this and you move it to the other document that you've been working on and you plop it in here. And there it is. And it's floating on a layer. But now the thing is, it's not the right size. So you need to think, how am I going to reshape this? How am I going to transform it to get it to fit? And specifically, to get it to look like this example. So a couple of these are tilted, and I'm not positive, but I think it's the butterfly and the cards. You also have to rotate them to match this. You don't have to match the colors in the background, but you do have to resize and transform things so that they match this look. Okay? Any questions on the homework? When you're done, this is important. So you're going to block out, scale them, transform them to make them look like this, minus the wavy paper. I took a picture of a picture, so whatever. Add your name to the bottom right corner. You're going to add your name with the type tool down here. It's got to be a PSD so that I can see all your layers and your selections, and I can turn off the background and I can see if they're clean. So if you try to get tricky and you put this on a dark orange background to hide all your mistakes or whatever, when I turn off the background layer that's all your checkerboard, I'm going to see your true selections. When you're done, the last thing I want you to do in Photoshop, so let's pretend that this is my file. I want you to do a image size, and it's going to be high res because we're starting at a 300 DPI file. I want you at the very, 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 very end to take the resolution down to 72 and say, okay, notice it went from a 20 meg file to a 1 meg file. I'm still going to get a file that's a PSD with layers that I can look at, but it's going to fit on my screen at 100% at this size, and it's going to take me 15 seconds to download it versus 3 minutes. So you will get docked if you give me a monster file and you didn't resize it at the very end. So that's your last step in the directions here, is to resize it. So there's 9 different things. You're going to get 9 points for clean edges, 9 points for making this checkerboard, 9 points for correct layering, meaning everything is on top of the checkerboard. So if it looks like this, you win. And 9 points for them being correctly positioned and transformed. So they match the size and scale that you see here, and they're tipped a little bit. Okay, so 36 points. Your drop box is right here. It's the only one that you'll see. All these are turned off. If you've been in the grade book and you've seen 3 billion things due and you're freaking out, look at the date. They're going to be old. Getting them out of the grade book has proved to be an act of Congress that requires 5 sessions to get them out there. So only worry about what we're currently working on, and what it says has a due date of 2019 this year. And I will work on cleaning up this grade book. But where these things live now in the, I don't know, it's a hot mess. So don't panic when you see that. Just the stuff that I've told you is due is what's due. Okay? So make sure your 2 files are in for today so you don't get late points on those. And then this is your homework that is due by the start of class next week. Okay? And then we'll keep going through working on more things each week. And then at some point we're going to do a project putting it all together also. Okay? Any questions, concerns? Congratulations. All right, good. Go ahead. Go at it. Have fun.